session at 6 o'clock. There's no reportable action. And we're opening the regular session at 6 o'clock. Public comments. Anyone out there who would like to address the board? Hearing none, I'll move on to voluntary public roll call via teleconference. Anyone out there wanting us to know that you're on the line?
Yes, John Joyce reporting for Roseman News.
Good evening, John.
Hi, Byron.
Anyone else? All right. Moving on to the consent calendar. There's the review of the checks and vouchers, payroll deposits, January 17th, January 31st. Any questions about the consent calendar? I have a motion to approve the consent calendar. So moved. Moved. Director Stewart. Second. Director Webb. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to the minutes, M1, M2, M3, Sewer Committee, regular board meeting, and then the Government and Community Relationships Committee. Any questions about those committee meetings? All right, may I have a motion to approve M1, M2, M3? So, second. Director Stewart makes the motion. Director Webb, second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to new business. New business 1, disposal of surplus equipment, e-waste.
Thank you, Mr. President. In your board packet is a staff report that lists all the items on which we are bringing to you to designate as surplus so that we can dispose of them. It's, the old desktop PCs, old servers, and a lot of cell phones. Including the Blackberries, if anybody's interested.
There you
go. The little, trackball Blackberries. But anyway, the book value on these, they're greater than 5 years. These depreciate out after 5 years. Book value 0. Our IT specialist has already removed the hard drives from each of the computers. So, and then all the other equipment that has batteries will be removed and then recycled. That's the method of disposal. Recommendation is for the board to approve.
Prior to voting on approving, sir, our last meeting when I had asked about the surplus.
Yes.
And I know we were talking about still one the option. I did speak to a school board member, and for the future, I would like for us to even go to policy to see what would it take for us to be able to donate a vehicle to the kids that are working on it, because they still have the automotive program.
Okay.
And I know we look at give the public funds type thing, but perhaps it's something that kids get an educational benefit from it. I think that would be a benefit, or we could argue, or you could argue the claim from get the public funds, but they still do have, this is per one of the school board members, and I think it would be a good gesture if we could give them something that they could work on there. Even if we have to sell it to them at very, whatever price there, whatever.
We will look into it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
How do you get rid of the SAM or whatever it is that you take out of all the electronics? How do you get rid of those?
You're talking about the SIM cards?
Yeah. Do you just don't come out? Do you just throw them away, or?
That's a good question. I really don't know. You're asking someone that's too old to do that stuff.
You take that out so that it's just not
functional.
Doesn't have anything left in it.
Yes, and I know you can do that. Actually, in all the phones, including the iPhones, there's a little card, there's a little slot, and a tool that you use to get it out. We can absolutely add that to our method of disposal if that's what we want to do.
I've been wondering too. I refuse to answer my phone when I'm driving, most of the time, whether I'm not driving or not. But anyways, do we have are the vehicles equipped so that the employees can put their phone there like lots of, everybody does in the truck, and they can see it so they don't have to physically hold it?
There are a couple of the trucks that the guys will, they install them personally.
Oh, themselves?
Yeah.
Okay. But we don't put them in there automatically in the truck.
No.
What do you think about
The
doing?
newer trucks are not Bluetooth, so you can just talk to them.
Oh, okay. So that's on its way out too. Okay. I was just wondering a safety issue if we ought to put those in the trucks. But if every new truck's going to be a Bluetooth, whatever, then
Yeah, mine's got it's really nice.
all right. The recommendation is to approve the list that you see in your packet. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Director Wallace. Second. Second, Director Washington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. NB1. NB2 is focusing on a task force 2024-1 NCOM for plan check services.
Thank you, Mr. President. So on December 13th of last year, you approved the master services agreement with AECOM for consultant services. We are expanding, or we're adding to our bench, to our bullpen, to take a baseball analogy, to have more consultants to access. And this one is for plan check services. The amount is time and materials not to exceed $15,000 on this initial task order, and the staff recommends approval.
Any questions?
Sir, question on the 15,000. Is that just the term of this contract?
Yeah. So, so you have there's a 3-year contract. This falls under that 3-year contract. So when that expires, this will also expire unless we amend it to extend the contract.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Any other questions? May I have a motion to approve NB2, Task Order 2024-1?
So moved.
Motion, Director Stewart. Second. Second, Director Wallace. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. NB3, approval of Task Order 2024-2 with AECOM on Rosen Boulevard utility adjustment.
So you see the work that we started to do on Rosen Boulevard to lower the facilities right now ahead of the road work that's coming by the county. This task order authorizes AECOM to prepare bid documents to put those services back. In other words, after the paving is done, when we come back in and raise the utilities back to grade. So our guys are doing the lowering, and then we're going to have a contractor come back in and do the raising. This the proposal from AECOM was under $12,000 to put that package together, which is a really good deal. And so I would recommend that you approve.
When they going to pay that? I know they put it off, right?
Yes, April is what we have to have everything lowered by April 1st.
Lowering everything isn't as big a problem as making it nice and smooth on the top when you're finished.
Yeah. Kind of like we're the demo guys.
Yeah.
So it's a lot less skilled. Not saying our guys don't do a great job, but this allows them and frees them up. The way that they plan the work, and John can talk about this. And I thought was pretty impressive because the task is really just getting forward. But what they've done is they've combined a cleaning operation first, and then they come back to clean the sewer line, and then when they're done with that manhole, then they pop it off and then move on to the next one, which is really efficient. So I commend them for planning that out.
When we lower it, John, are we putting like grade plates on it, false bottom, or are we? What's the plan? Like to make sure stuff doesn't fall in.
Right now, what we're doing, we're just taking the lid itself.
Yeah.
And laying it right back over.
Yep.
I've heard of
overnight and putting grade plates, and then not saying we would do it, but they leave it out overnight and then they go missing. Oh yeah. No, we're like John said, and then bearing back. So it's yeah. Yeah, I got a chance to go out and take a look today, and want to commend the public works team out there doing a good job. Traffic control, delineation, everything looks good.
Any other questions on NB3? All right, may I have a motion to approve NB3?
So moved.
Motion, Director Stewart. Second, Director Wallace. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion NB3, approval of task order 2024-2, approved. Director's reports, comments, and future agenda items. I'll start with Director Washington. We'll begin in Florida and move our way to retirement.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. President. I have two things tonight. First, I'd like to share my water perspective of this past year and a look into 2024. With record-breaking rainfall these past couple weeks, we've heard terms such as atmospheric river or pineapple express, weather patterns that have brought much rain to California. I like to think of it as a lot of banking deposits. I've watched California in the past few years aggressively create groundwater replenishment programs throughout Southern California, as well as recycling plants that have captured water like at no other time. LA County Public Works recently reported capturing 3.6 billion gallons of stormwater. That's enough water for 89,000 residents for a year. Let's take a look down the road at 300th Street West and Avenue D, the High Desert Water Bank. Water banking going on currently to the tune of 280,000 acre-feet of storage. Our neighbors in Palmdale have announced moving forward with their pure water recycling plant. And we here at Rcsd have percolated somewhere near 1,300 acre-feet since January 2023. 18 new small desalination plants along the coast have also popped up. And that's not to mention the upcoming April snowpack levels or the future $15.9 billion Delta Conveyance project that Director Glennon spoke about at our last meeting. So with all said, I personally feel California is doing an admirable job of addressing long-term water sustainability. Lastly, February is Black History Month, where we celebrate past contributions of African Americans to our world. So tonight, I wanted to acknowledge Charles A. Graves, Roseland's first postmaster in 1879.
Great.
The Roseland News has a very good article about Mr. Graves in this month's publishing and his many contributions to our town. I recommend everyone pick up a copy of that Roseland News because Mr. Joyce certainly educated me on this great pioneer. That's all I have.
Yeah, you know what? It must have been his son did my fall. Bob Graves.
Yes, Bob Graves.
Yeah. He was very good. Right. Director Stewart.
Speak up.
Please speak up.
I believe this is our first meeting since the pledge drive. If not, I didn't get to mention it last time. I want to say thank you to staff. I showed up and donated blood. There was a waiting line, about 4 or 5 people in front of me, so that was pretty cool. And then the guy expressed many thanks to Sherry, and of course she forwards it off to us, saying it's the leadership of the board, but we all know the truth. So,
Thank you.
I want to say thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
Director Webb.
Just trying to impress people, mister. Anyway, I want to compliment Miss Sherry. She looks totally awesome, folks. Very, very corporate. Props to the young lady.
I'll give a
What about the fellow next to her?
General manager. A couple things I'd like to bring up. I don't know if it's been corrected, so if it has, we're good. But the building adjacent to the tire shop on Rosen Boulevard has graffiti on the side of it. Looks like gangster writing. And like I said, reason I I saw on the project when graffiti is.
And then put security over it.
You know, one thing we
could do that. I'm not saying.
is put plywood up and then shoot some paint over it the same color as the building. Then it won't be as attractive to people.
Plywood doesn't indicate.
No, I don't disagree.
So,
I asked one thing, we have some other things left over, but some of the flat.
so when we could come up with something that Diamond Street looks totally abandoned. I'm going to circle back around that. I know we had started looking at doing that, but there was some issues, asbestos, whatever, whatnot, with you had. Diamond Street, but further than later. But anyway, you guys are aware of that. And the last thing I have, and this is more towards the board members, we need a special board meeting to look at strategic plans, and then we need to align the goals for the general manager for this year with those. So that's something that we need to work the schedule to bring forward, because we gave them, we looked at them last year, but we need to get them a roadmap, and the strategic plans kind of got blown out of water during that COVID era, and I think they need to be revisited as we push forward. And in conjunction with that, we also need to tie in succession planning long term for every position here, because as people leave, we need to stop filling positions in an emergency and have a swing flow. So we could, the board members, we need to address that as far as the strategic planning and working on some goals for our general manager, so he can push them down to his staff. But we need to work on it ourselves.
So kind of like a workshop, where we could.
It's not taking. It can't be something.
Take a look at our mission statement and make sure we're working in unison.
You know, we got to make sure it's all tying in, but it can't be something before meeting and after meeting, because 30 minutes is not enough. And you know, we need to start talking about it now, because I will bet we look at our strategic plans. I think the last time we looked at them was just before COVID hit, and we haven't looked at them since then.
Okay, you wanna schedule some time in the next month or so, Kim?
Sure. Let me. I'll talk about it in my report.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, sir.
I would encourage all of our customers have access to our agenda packets, don't they?
It's posted on our website.
I would really encourage them to go to the back of it and always look at the field operation reports and the pictures. They are 1,000 words, and hopefully the public can see when they look through that field operations report what has really happened this last month and what's really been going on. And in relationship to the Hamilton Elementary School was named after Ezra Hamilton because he gave them that land. Graves Field, it was named after Graves because he gave them that land. Ezra Hamilton and Graves came to Antelope Valley together and bought up Roseman and basically got the railroad here and all those kind of things. And but really a lot of history in relationship to a black man and a white man who developed this whole area and got the railroad coming here. A good marriage relationship between the I'm almost the one that hindered it. Yeah, between races. All right. General Counsel update. John.
Nothing tonight, folks.
Thank you, sir. General Manager's update.
Thank you, Mr. President. The county is still approaching us about operation of the pool at Wilford Park. So,
aggressively.
So, and it kind of ties into a little bit of what Director Webb was talking about, in that we've been taking a little bit of a deep dive in one of the committees about the properties that we have, and what to do with them. And we discovered that a couple of the properties were designated for parks.
For parks, right?
Yep, and we still have ownership. So when the Chief General Services Officer called me about Willowford, I actually jumped him and said, "How about taking some of these pieces of property back?" So there's he wants to know what our number is to operate the park. And I told him, we're not interested in that. I'll provide you a number, but we're not interested in it. So,
Cushion it.
no, I'm just saying, we're going to give you a number, but we're not interested.
Right.
So,
Jim, real quick before you get past that, let me ask you a question. Is there, or do you know, or could you maybe research and find out if there's a group that would run the park? Run the pool, not the park.
Yeah.
Pool, not park. Because the problem we had with it, we never had sufficient funds to do it the right way. And if we can't do it the right way, how can the county do it the right way? I don't see them giving you a number. But maybe we could see if there's a group out there that does it. We just push it to that whole side over there and take our name out of it. Because the one problem that I see, if we show back up at that park, a lot of folks that said no, the pool, the word park's going to come back up. We're going to be fighting uphill battle.
yeah, I say this I'm interested in them taking the park's property back, so I'm engaging the conversation, and we'll come up with a number that is going to be too much. I'm pretty sure it's going to be too much because you're right, they don't collect enough. And, no one's going to really want to hear that, but that's exactly the case. Now, are there outfits that do that? There's usually for-profit outfits that will take operations of facilities, parks facilities. It's a really hard sell.
Yes.
Because if the county can't do it, or we couldn't do it, a private person is going to cut corners just as much too, because they got to make money at it, right? So to answer your question, yes, there are those outfits that are out there. Problem is, they probably can't make it work either. So I want to let you know that I'm going to respond, but this is going to be a long discussion. Maybe a short discussion, but it's going to be a long discussion around several issues between us and the county. So that's the first item.
I have a comment in relation to that pool.
Yeah.
I don't really understand how they can secure that pool. We don't have the strongest police presence in this community, and there's been instances where they've thrown the bleachers, the bleachers they sit on in the pool. They jump the fence at night and swim in the pool, and I could see the potential for liability.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's playing into the equation of why they would like to not have to do it. I'm sure that plays into that. Second item I had is
Where's the garden out of it?
Well, since you're going to go there, Director, I have a comment. I like your shirt tonight.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Second item is related to the budget, and I think this kind of ties into what I'm hearing as far as directing, as far as vision. It's been my goal to kind of firm up the budget. In other words, in the past, or at least in the most recent years, it's been more of a projection of trending instead of taking a deep dive into it and actually seeing what our costs are, year over year, and maybe planning out projects over a 5-year period. We had a really good meeting with public works staff, the admin staff, and our finance staff to talk about the things that need to come to the table to build that budget. So and the finance committee is going to be part of this process in March. Actually, we're putting the initial budget together because we're going to ask about exactly what you're talking about, the vision that you have and what you want to see. And so I think it kind of ties in. And if we want to make it more of a workshop for the entire board, this kind of it's really preliminary. It's not really for public consumption yet, I don't think, because we're really kind of working through all the numbers. But we could start with the finance committee and then do a workshop after that. Does that work for you guys, taking that approach instead? Because I think I want to hear, we want to hear and make sure that we do enough homework to inform that budget process. Because, to be honest, without budget, you really don't know what your vision is going to be. And you don't know what your budget is without knowing what your vision is either. So it kind of feeds itself. So if you have a little patience, I think it would be great to let us work out what we have financially. I mean, we're looking to see where we can trim that, where we have depth, where we have real needs to address some of the things that we're talking about, that you're talking about right now. So, so let me come up with a schedule based on what we're doing budget-wise as far as vision, and kind of blast that out to you guys and see if that works for you.
That could work, but I still think the board members,
Yeah, absolutely.
we still need to come up with goals for you aside from just a budget. It needs to be the full longevity for lack of better things.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it, which we have to look at. But I think the board members, this is upon us, because when we sit down to write a fair evaluation of you, we need to say A, B, C, D, things that address, and it's not fair to you if we don't give you some goals to at least attempt to work towards, just so you get a good job. Well, no. I don't want to keep putting a halo over you because you're a nice person. That's not fair to you. Yes, it is. So I think what you're saying is important. That's a component of it. I still think the board we still need to sit down and say, outside of that, where are other things? Because some of the things you touched upon. But I think in order for you to have a factual evaluation of yourself, it can't just be one head. It has to be several headings, and we have to give you goals to work towards. That's a part of it, the budgeting and how we get there, the strategic planning, but also your staff development, strategic planning for succession planning, all those pieces. So that part is important, but we still have responsibilities to you. This is something we're responsible for the future.
I understand. And I didn't realize you were thinking vision more towards, the goals that I would have in executing your vision. I was thinking more in terms of just making sure our budget matches what you guys see.
Which will come up, but I'm saying we need to ensure that we give you the goals to work towards, and you have the tools to work towards them. So that's a part of it, brings back to the information. So we still have the accountability to you.
Okay. So I'll talk to Sherry about availability, and we can schedule. You just want a workshop just by itself, just to talk about vision? Is that what you're talking about?
What I'm looking at for us to do for you, we need to talk about goals and our strategic planning, how it looks, it matches up the board members. And then, of course, we all need to know capacity and capability that you do, because are you overworked, underworked, do you not have enough work? We need to.
So is this related? Sorry to pitch up, but is this more related to my review or the opposite?
No. This is for us pushing forward. That review's done.
Yeah, but
the review's done. We have to see the goals for this year going forward.
Okay.
We also have to look at the strategic plan. The strategic plan hasn't been looked at, like I said, since COVID came.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the strategic plan. That's what we're going to talk about.
And goals for the GM going forward.
Okay. All right.
Did you understand kind of what he was saying? But before, you're talking about the finance kind of like 3 steps. The staff works on it, then maybe a finance committee, and then bringing it to the board.
Correct.
That's okay.
Yep.
All right.
And lastly, so we'll work with Sherry to set the vision workshop / goals.
Yeah.
Okay. I have an update, a late update from just to make sure it's part of the record, because this didn't get reported out, from the August 21st, 2023 committee meeting. It was related to the disposition of the Rcsd Foundation, as what we were going to, what the recommendation was from that committee, and it was an ad hoc committee. A lot of folks were there that had interest in the foundation. and the direction was to place on the next finance committee agenda. So we're going to make sure that happens. It was supposed to be reported out to the board back then. It got lost in the shuffle, and it'll go to the next finance committee. So I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. That's all I have.
Any questions for the general manager? Okay, moving on. Director of Administration's update.
Thank you, Mr. President. We mailed out 143 notice of shut-off letters on February 8th. So today we had a total of 81 customers who had still not paid that received a door hanger. And today was the first day that we reinstated the $20 fee that the board had approved back in 2015 to charge. Received one phone call about it so far, so we'll see how that goes. And it's not meant to be a punitive measure. We've talked about this before, but just to encourage people to bring awareness that we really don't want to shut your water off. And in our area, I feel it works very well to have that because a lot of people don't open their mail. We send out those letters first. That's what we're legally required to do by SB 998. And we line it out that if you don't pay, you're going to get a $20 door hanger fee. If you're disconnected, it's going to be $45. So we've really ramped up the notification of that to make sure customers are aware that, and call us. That's been the consistent message. Call us if you're having a problem paying the bill. We can do a payment arrangement. And this is the first month that since we started payment arrangements for the last year that we've had everyone pay. We had no broken payment arrangements for this month, which was actually pretty amazing. The $45 service disconnection fee will resume on March 5th. So that's the last stage in our shut-off process that we have at the present time. And hopefully we have very few people at that point in time that would be getting shut off. Also, I just want to let you guys know that the district has enhanced its CalPERS 457 plan, and we now offer a Roth contribution option. We've arranged with our VOIA plan representative to host a one-on-one Zoom appointment meeting with interested staff. That will take place on February 21st in the district conference room. And we're encouraging the staff to make an appointment to ask questions about their existing plan, or if they've not signed up, see how it works. And what advantages a Roth contribution can make. So far 10 employees have signed up.
Great. Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Because I remember we had something else come up, and we were letting some employees do it. It was kind of optional, but I think an issue came up. Are they doing it on time, district time, or their time? We're just making it available to everybody.
We're making it available.
What was something that come up, and you were saying, someone was saying, it was last year sometime, something had come up, and an issue came up about whose time was being used.
One drive, maybe?
There was something that come up, but I mean, this is very important to them.
Right.
So we should just.
But it's a benefit from work.
And it's open to everybody, right? I mean,
yes.
I don't want someone to say, well, I want to take my 10 minutes to do this or whatever. So we're just making it available.
And they're having to coordinate with their supervisor for the time. So we have time slots starting at 7:30 and the last time slot is 4:30. And if they're not able to make the meeting, they can actually call or go online and schedule another one-on-one phone call. And just a reminder, March 5th and March 19th, Kern County elections will be using the boardroom as polling place. And blood drives for the remainder of 2024 have been scheduled already. So June 6th will be our next blood drive, and December 12th.
6th?
Yes. Those are Thursdays.
And December 12th.
And December 12th from noon to
December 12th.
And I'm very, very pleased at the responses that community given. Thank you. And that's the end of my report.
Yeah, I believe you mentioned it last week that however many slots there were filled up.
They were all filled.
There wasn't any extras.
And there were, I believe, 6 people that donated the Power Red.
Yeah.
And they were very happy about that.
Yeah, they would really like the Power Red. I guess they can use it instantly. They don't have to do much messing with it. Yeah. All right. Any questions for Director of Administration? All right, Director of Public Works update, John. I really enjoy looking through it. Are you the one that puts that together, or do you have an actual team that puts that all together?
Actually, Larry does it.
Larry does.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this week we started the project on Oklahoma. It's only just, we'll continue that for the next, until we finish, but we'll be working on it on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for the next few weeks until we get that project completed. And then if you have any questions on the package, I'll be happy to answer.
And I noticed it's the graffiti that isn't removed that Rick is starting. I think it's starting to pick up. It seems like more in the community.
So if it's called in, we've been on the look on it.
Yeah, that's because it hasn't been called in yet, and you're not aware of it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Public Works does a great job of getting it.
Up where I live, somebody graffitied it, but I think somebody else came and painted it. I don't think it was you because it doesn't match at all. They just covered it up, and but I don't know if you know about that one up on Owens Way. It's on the wall that goes to the sump.
Is it on the outer part of the wall or
On
the
the outside wall, correct?
Outside wall, yeah. But somebody said something. I don't know what they said. Somebody else answered them, and then somebody came and just wiped it all out. But they wiped it out with real dark paint on a white wall.
Okay, we'll get it off there.
But they have to contact you. They just can't assume we're going to go around and.
Yeah, no, we do it by call.
Yeah.
And that's what, like I said, there's a house down the street here that they were using up pretty good. And I had to go out to change the house to the wide one.
And I'd like to comment a little bit on that because I've noticed a substantial pickup in graffiti tagging in the community. I also saw some chatter on one of the social media sites about it. I was thinking, wow, the time they spent there, they could have just put in a report to you. But I was thinking that it may be important that we revisit this topic at maybe an RMAC or a Roseman Chamber meeting that they need to call it in. We don't have eyes driving around the whole community looking for graffiti, but if you call it in, we'll come out and take care of it in a real expedient manner. I had some concern about like some buildings, you guys paint with what you have. And sometimes it's a discoloration of what the building actually is. Does it make sense to broker understanding with the business owner that if they have 5 gallons of paint that match, that we can come out and perform the work? If
That would be helpful,
yeah.
Absolutely.
But I hate to say, these type of topics have to be hammered. It seems like every 8 weeks or so that we provide graffiti abatement.
Director wants my name.
Yeah.
Jerry's not ahead of me. He's already directed us to dedicate next letter. I'll very report it.
Great.
I would say one other thing about the graffiti. Director Washington, you brought up the point. We need to go to the RMAC and possibly even the school board meeting and speak to them there. I'll tell you why. We know it's not us doing it, but those two audiences. The reason I say that, and next week I have a problem going to the school board and speaking if they have a meeting next Wednesday, but I think we need to get all the fronts because one group that looks at us and I look at them, like the other part about it, it goes back, and this is a thing that's been a law enforcement for many years, it's called broken windows. If you don't address it today, they break the other window, they break the other window, and you have total chaos. So we need to encourage everyone to know that they can call us, good on the newsletter part, but I think just talking to people directly, letting them know that we're concerned, that helps get the message out, because the bad part about the graffiti is that they'll do it, and at some point they'll get tired of getting their stuff painted over. That's what we want to get to. But the other part about it, we need to let some folks, because not everyone, we make the assumption that everybody knows. Everyone doesn't know. So I think the RMAC and the school board, just letting them know the service is available and asking them to push it forward. Because if you want the newsletter, that's a good tool. Everyone's not going to read the newsletter, but at least we can know in good faith that we went in front of their board, their audience, their group, the service is available. I'll take that responsibility to go to the school board meeting next Wednesday and address that there. And I don't know who goes to the RMAC, but I think if we do that there, then we make it all our responsibility, not just one agency. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Public Works Director? All right. I guess we're moving on to adjournment if there is nothing more. I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, Director Webb. Second. Second, Director Wallace. We're adjourned at 6:41.
Great. Jerry, you're 4 steps